All right, I guess we on. What's going on, party people? Let's be here. We back at it. Got another one here for you guys tonight. Now, if this is your first time, welcome. It's definitely a pleasure having you in. I am a spiritual healer, so what I do, I help people to align themselves with who they are. And that process is what I call the work. And in order for you to do that type of work, you would have to acknowledge your emotional patterns. You would have to understand your intellectual capacity, and also your pain, your anxiety, and all of that shit. So pretty much it's the unification of the mind and the body. And you do that by actually doing your shadow work. So that's what I help you to do. Because in a nutshell, a spiritual healer, we walk both sides, meaning the dark side, the side that you don't see, and also the light side, the side that we are looking at right now. And if you're coming back, you already know what I do. You already know I'm giving it up. Get a plate. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk some shit. So, as a spiritual healer, I just gave you a brief description of what I do. But also in that journey, there's gonna be time where, it's not just good. It's part of the journey. You have to protect your energy. I made a whole video talking about energy vampire and the way they operate. Now, not every energy vampires is gonna show up as an energy vampire, you know. But the whole point of me talking about this is to help you to understand anybody who's not fully spiritually mature is potentially an energy vampire. So therefore, as part of your growth, you have to create boundaries, right? Stronger boundaries. Oh, you shit. We're not talking about walls here. Because the walls is generally an act of fear. Do you see what I'm saying? So when you build like a wall around you, it's like you don't want to be hurt. It's more like you're trying to hide who you are. Versus creating stronger boundaries as a spiritual being simply means I know what my energy is and I know what your energy is, and I don't want that in my life. That's what the boundary is. I don't want that shit. You could keep it over there. Keep that shit way over there. You know what I'm saying? So, why is this very important? Because as you are being in alignment with yourself, there's an internal peace that you will somehow cultivate, and you're gonna realize it's priceless. How priceless that shit is. It's like my peace is like, damn, I don't even know what to say, man. In so many, I guess it's part of my being too, man. It's part of me being in alignment with myself, and I can't let no one take that away. Oh no, sir. Oh ma'am. Not after knowing what it is. When you taste it, having that state of mind, that peace of mind, that golden mind, that golden ah, you know what I'm saying? You can't, it's important for you to guard it because that's your treasure. That self satisfaction, that self respect, that self love, that, yay. You know what I'm saying? That's your shit. I know it's my shit. So therefore, it's important for you, as part of you creating the boundaries, you got to understand now, as part of creating those boundaries, you got to know your environment. You got to be able to identify and know who those energy vampires are. And I made a whole video talking about them. Technically, what you calling your energy vampires or your what you call your haters. Your haters, anybody, the jealousy, the envy, it's pretty much people who are operating from a low state of mind, who are operating from a false perspective of who they are. Do you see what I'm saying? Who doesn't have a healthy shadow, or what most people would call they are operating from their ego. But that's not what the ego is. They are operating from a false persona, because they are not in alignment with who they are, and they are afraid of the light, and that's why we call them vampires. Just like vampires, they can't see the sunlight. They got to stay in the dark. So those are the people who would not want to learn about who they are. If you were to tell them anything about who they are, they would refute it. They would do, they would not acknowledge it. They don't know how to do it. They don't know how to take accountability. So think about that. So a nigga who doesn't know how to take accountability will fuck your ass up. Because they're not taking accountability for it. Who gives a fuck? You see what I'm saying? Like, I gotta be careful about what I'm doing because I'm taking accountability for myself. And when you truly look at it too, all that shit makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So I'll take accountability, because I know I'm creating shit. I'm in power. You know what I'm saying? But the motherfuckers not taking accountability, those are the ones who don't give a fuck. Or flying fucks. But anyway. But all that shit is funny to me. I mean, and of course, I mean, it's part of the growth too. Like, I learned to love it. I mean, that's part of growth and compassion. Not necessarily loving it, but understand it with a passion. Like, oh my God, that's how you are. Wow. You know what I'm saying? That's when I go like, wow. Hey man, you're strong as fuck. I mean, of course, it's a little bit sarcastic, but truly what I'm also saying too, it's like, yo man, like, okay, well, that's your shit. And that's why creating the boundary is very important. You know what I'm saying? But now, the part that I want to talk about, because it's all related, you know what I'm saying? And this is also going to help you to even create a stronger boundary by understanding, certain things. But first, that's why you got to take accountability for yourself first, then understanding your energy and other people's energy. And then now, you creating your boundaries is simply you understanding, this, not to cast pearls before swines. A pearl in fucking desert have no value. That's technically what you're doing. It's not a wall. It's not going against them. It's not hate. It's pretty much understanding, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to argue with a fucking 3-year-old. He's 3. Or she's 3. That's a baby. Hey, you know what I'm saying? You stay right there. That's all that is. That's all that is. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's why we also got to have compassion for them. I mean, shit, I know I do. I mean, why the fuck not? But anyway, let's get back to what I was talking about. You know what I'm saying? Because I could easily, But anyway, but this is very important because as part of your growth, you have to protect yourself. You got to, and especially once you get in touch, once you come in touch with the person that you are, and then you realize how priceless the shit is. Like, for me, I know I would drop everything else for the person that I am, to embrace myself. And, and shit, obviously, and I also talk about being the sacrificial lamb. I know for me, I mean, shit, nigga, I had to sacrifice my mom, my brothers, people who are hating on you, haters, my mom jealous, doing all kind of bullshit. They say, hey, man, it comes with the territory, baby. It comes with the game. You know what I'm saying? That's why you have to learn how to love with a broken heart. And part of the sacrifice, just like Jesus did, I mean, you sacrifice the people that you love for a greater, for the cosmic, for the divine. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, for my true self. And as part of you becoming in alignment with yourself, listen, man, something got to give, baby. That's why a lot of people, when I tell people, spirituality isn't really about what people really think it is. I mean, yes, you do have your meditation part, you do have your Zen part, you do have all that bullshit, yes, love, and all that. But the true shit, how that is being translated in true life, though, it's really like, to love your enemies. Not necessarily like you got to hang out with them or passionately being in love with them, but you just understand them, having compassion for them. Like, wow, okay, that's the type of time you on. Because I'll do that shit a lot. It's like, wow, okay, I guess that's what I'm dealing with. Do you see what I'm saying? But that's also part of my growth, and also accepting other people for who they are and understanding, their role in my life. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's putting everything in alignment. As you growing spiritually too, a lot of the darkness, like they say, what don't come. I mean, what doesn't come out in the snow is gonna come out in the thaw. So as you start raising your vibration, your as it is, because it comes from in and out. I mean, not necessarily in and out, but it comes from within to without. Meaning, as you start to change internally, you being the light, your outside is gonna start changing. But before it does so, that's when a lot of shit gonna start revealing themselves. And that's the true secret of doing your shadow self. I mean, your shadow work. Like I always tell people, I've read tons of fucking books on fucking shadow work that's telling you, okay, certain exercises you gotta do and shit like that. But to each his own. None of that shit worked for me. I know for me personally, I mean, of course, if you know certain things about yourself, like there's, I can't recall the name of that book. That was a good book. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a, I can't recall, but it was by an author named Timothy some shit. I can't recall what it was. I mean, it wasn't too bad of a book, I should say. But when it comes, or maybe it just didn't work too much for me. But there was a couple things that I was able to, like, I'll give you a perfect example. Like, if you already know, something that you're hurt by, then one of his exercise was pretty much you can actually go back in that time in your mind and rearrange what happened. Let's just say, I don't know, let's just say you were raped, right? So as you doing your shadow self, you can go back and change that image of what happened in your mind, because anything that happened in the past is just a memory. And that memory could trigger you. So by you changing that memory now, because it's no longer the same memory, I mean, I thought that was cool. That was cool. You know what I'm saying? I mean, in so many words, he's telling you it's all mental. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But for me, I would say, as part of my experience, I know what, you gotta do what works for you. For me, it's just to accept it. The power of acceptance is just crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? How about just accepting that shit? It happens? Okay. Well, I mean, a lot of shit happens. A lot of shit happens, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might be worried about you being raped. Somebody else must have got, like, I don't know. Do you see what I'm saying? And of course, I mean, pain is pain. I mean, I'm not saying you should compare your pain to somebody else's pain. But what I'm truly trying to say is, once you accept it, that's how you're able to transmute it. Not being in denial, not being... The only way the cure of the pain is in the pain. You got to face that pain, baby. one way or another. I mean, one way or another. Now, his theory, I mean, part of that exercise, I mean, I could see it too. Because what you're doing by doing that, you are unlocking that pain inside of you. You changing it. So if you, I mean, hey, whatever the fuck works. You know what I'm saying? Hey, there you go. You got one. You know that? But the number one thing that I realize that works for me, and I would probably say for most people too, is that as you start growing spiritually, consciously, because a lot of your shadow side, you're not going to know it until you grow. So when Einstein said, and I think that was one of the best shit he ever said, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't save a problem. You can solve, I mean, I'm sorry, you can't solve a problem with the same state of mind that created the problem. In other words, that's why you can't know that you're toxic while you're toxic. It's as you grow, you know what I'm saying, then you start seeing how toxic that you were. I mean, that you actually was. So that's you not being that same state of mind to solve this problem here that was in this state of mind. That shit is powerful. This motherfucker was talking some shit. And ironically, that's how the fucking shadow work. Your shadow work works. What doesn't come out in the snow is going to come out in the thaw. So the key, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, I mean, there's, to each his own. But as, for me personally, when I started growing spiritually, when I saw my shadow, you know what I'm saying? And that's when I started embracing that. So that's why for me, when you become a member in the Patreon, we're going to get to talk about your shadow self. We get to talk about your ego. And all of these different part of you, aspect of you got to come together. They all got to dine with you. You got to embrace all of them. If not, if you're approaching it as your enemy, I mean, if it's already your enemy, how do you make peace with it? It's only going to be fight. It's a fight club. You got some fight club shit going on here. But if you're approaching it as a friend, you have a better chance of working something out. Meaning you becoming in fucking harmony with the person that you are. That's why your ego is not your fucking enemy. That's why your shadow self is not your fucking enemy. But it becomes your enemy because you don't acknowledge it. You don't cope with it. And as a result, it's pretty much reminding you, yo, motherfucker, what about me? That's when you're triggered. But this is a Patreon talk, a consultation talk too. So definitely hit me up. Now, let's get back to what I was talking about before, right? Because now you start to become aware of the person that you are, it's important for you to understand the fucking energy vampire. But the part that I'm going to be talking about here today, right here, right now, is the part that you got to understand. Anybody who's not fully spiritually mature is a potential vampire. There's no in between. Ain't no half stepping over here, baby. You can't serve two masters. Because the key word here is potential. Because you know how they say, like, a person may not hate on you until you become more successful than them. What do you think happened there? Because they were not fully spiritually mature. Do you see what I'm saying? And because of that, it was just a matter of time for their shadow self to show you who the fuck they are. Or it was just a matter of time for that vampire self to come out. So that's why for you it's very important for you as you're creating your boundaries for you to also identify and understand that part of it so you could create a stronger boundary or stronger boundaries. And again, I'm just going to recap a little bit, when I talk about, I don't even think I need to go there, because I was going to talk about a little bit about the energy vampires. Those are literally psychopath. Keep in mind, this earth realm is a mental institution. The only way for you to become sane, you become sane by being spiritually in alignment. Otherwise, you know, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's always going to be what it is, regardless, too. That's why this type of knowledge is only for the living. That's what makes it a quality knowledge. That's why it's always quality over quantity. That's why we can't argue with fools, man. It doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what I'm saying? Well, my background is fucking Caribbean. I'm fucking Haitian, right? So it's like, think about this. If you got, let's just say 10 unripe mango and then one ripe mango, the 10 unripe mango doesn't matter, bro. You can't eat it. It's not ready to, it's not, you know what I'm saying? It's not edible yet. You can't do nothing with it. So that just one ripe mango that you have, and that's what quality is. That's why it's never been quantity over quantity. I mean, over quality. It's never been that. And it will never be that. But anyway, I'm saying all of that to say it's important for you to understand, because at any given time, they could switch to that energy vampire. So you understanding that's why you have to create a tough boundary. I mean, boundaries. And that spiritual path, man, it's like, it's really different. It's really the type of, it really, I know for me personally, it allows me, it's like, when you become born again, you truly become that cosmic person. It's like your whole fucking identity shift. And I had to open up myself to it, because I had to let go a bunch of bullshit. Like the biological family bullshit. I mean, if it works, if it's in alignment with your spiritual side, by all means, yeah, rock with it. But if it's not, come on now, you got some work to do. You got some work to do. And that's what the whole Jesus shit was also about too. Like him having to go to the fucking abyss, and I already talk about that. How you gotta go, like, as a light worker. That's why you gotta know the darkness better than anybody who's in the darkness. Because you're able to go in it and come out of it. They're stuck in it. And now, your job or my job as a spiritual healer is to talk to the ones who went down, who's trying to come out of it. Or the ones who's going down, that's going to come out. I mean, we've been passing down this knowledge for the livings. So you got to understand, it's like that, and that's what true spirituality is truly all about. It's funny, when was it? I think it was the other night, I was watching The Passion of Christ. Man, listen, I was both laughing and fucking inspired too. It's like, because I was seeing a whole bunch of shit that I didn't look at before. I mean, of course, the funny part to me was, I mean, it may not be too, so funny after all, as I'm thinking about it now. But it was motherfucking funny, nigga. And I'll tell you what the funny part is. It's like, it's funny to me how I guess Mel Gibson pretty much emphasized on the whole treatment, on the whole, I don't know, like the fucking, Jesus being whipped, and it's like, and you could see the blood, like, like that part. I mean, it was funny to me, but it's also not so funny too if you put yourself in Jesus' shoes, meaning that you become the Christ, because that's what we all got to go through as a spiritual healer, or as, you know what I'm saying, or as a spiritual being, period. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you can imagine what I had to go through for me to become independent and not to be like, fuck my mom, let me be myself. Oh, that's an ultimate sacrifice. Oh yeah. It comes with it, baby. Come on now. This shit ain't no joke. Oh shit. It's that way. All the way that way. And that's how you walk to walk, man. That's how you get in alignment with yourself. And trust me, there's a peace in it. It's like you sacrifice a lower self for a higher self. Oh, that shit is priceless to me, baby. You know what I'm saying? But going through the process and accepting, that's why I always tell people the power of acceptance. It's crazy. That's when you're like, okay. It is what it is. That's when you're like, oh shit, nigga. You got nothing on me. You got to do your own shit. But most importantly, too, understanding the way the whole energy of empire works also help you to accept them. First of all, by you accepting them, to accept them, you have to understand them too. They kind of go hand in hand. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why people get mad at their haters, man. Like, of course, I could say that now, but I know why, But all I'm trying to say is, once you reach that higher state of mind, you want your haters. Tell me how good I'm doing, baby. You know what I'm saying? Because they're going to tell you how well you're doing. You know what I'm saying? That you got to learn how to turn that other cheek, baby. Oh yeah, come on, man. You got to turn your swag on. You know how talk is different. We're talking different over here. Do you see what I'm saying? That's when you get to, what's the word? Like, animate that higher perspective of you. Now you start looking at life on a whole different level by turning that other cheek. Now you are operating on a higher state of mind, not the regular state of mind. And that's how you know what I'm saying, you become a smooth operator, baby. Oh man, look here, man. We shit, nigga. Tell me I'm looking. How am I looking? Do you see what I'm saying? So that's why spirituality, in so many words, like, you can't dissociate spirituality from your life. It wouldn't make sense. And that's why a lot of those mythologies is it's very important. Those stories, or however the fuck you want to call them, would be more powerful when you put yourself in those shoes. The story of Moses is just telling you about you. The story of Jesus is only telling you about you, depending on who you are. If you're, again, the Pharisees, those teachers could be looked at as the institution, religion, the way things are supposed to be, society. It's just another type of institution. But in the whole world, it's just society. Now they making a spiritual society that is based on behavior instead of the internal, instead of the person that you are. It's all related. So then Jesus, being the higher state of consciousness, we can't have that, because now society is like, you're disrupting. Who the fuck do you think you are? This type of fucking establishment. I was watching, what was the name of that movie? It's the same shit that they were talking about. What was the name of that movie, man? Where those kids had to take the test, either to become an erudite, they were, chosen to be certain part. And only a certain, groups were allowed to rule. I think it was called the Allegiance, Allegiant, was it the Allegiant? What the fuck? What was the name of that movie? I don't know. There's like three parts of that movie, but I can't recall the name. Surge some shit. I don't recall. It's telling you about the same shit. And then when you're divergent, thank you, myself. Divergent. Because the divergent was pretty much, a representation of all of those different little things. And then at the end of the movie, Divergence is the one, and the Divergent was also represented by a female. Do you see what I'm saying? That creative force, knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And it's just incredible. So, to get back to understanding how important it is for you to know, because at that point too, it helps you as you're creating your boundaries, but to know who you're dealing with as well. The best way to create a stronger boundary, you gotta know and understand your environment. If you're having a conversation with someone, and I'll give you something like, you can tell if someone is spiritual right off the bat, or have a higher state of consciousness, because everybody's spiritual, but they vary in degrees, right? Or conscious, however the fuck you want to put it. If that person is draining, if you feel drained, even though you don't know what's going on, you don't know the person too much, chances are, they are a fucking energy vampire, because that's what they do. They suck it out of you. Versus if you're having a conversation with someone who is as spiritually mature, you'll feel very light. Your lightness and your lightness combined together, you'll feel it. You'll just know it. So that's another way for you can actually recognize. But let's just say you didn't see none of that shit, but you know that person is not 100% conscious. I mean, not conscious, like spiritually mature. Chances are you you know what you got to do. And again, the boundaries simply means you understand who they are, you accept them for who they are, but they're not allowed to be in your life. Do you see what I'm saying? You can't because, I mean, I don't know, like, what are you trying to do? You just, I guess, I know for me, the whole purpose was for me to elevate myself. But if something is in the way of that, it doesn't make any sense. And I vouch to look over this fella here. You know what I'm saying? Shit, nigga. I took a vow. I'm like, nigga, come on, I got you. You have to. And ironically, and this is what a lot of people don't understand too, and by you doing so, which is not selfish at all, it's just self-respect, and it allows you to truly love somebody else. That's how I'm able to accept you, motherfucker. Because I value me. So therefore, okay, I see the type of time that you on. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Keep, all right, you stay on the clock, baby. I'm checking myself out. I'm somewhere else. Do you see what I'm saying? So understanding that is very important because, it helps you to see the Judas like, 100 miles away. Because really think about it, like, they can't be what they're not. The only reason why a hater is going to be a hater because they can't be what they're not. That's what they do. It's funny how, and a hater too would spend a lot of time trying to hate when they could simply use that same amount of time and reverse that shit to them and make themselves better. But they will not do that because they can't take that accountability. The sun is too bright for them. They got to stay in that darkness. No, you got to let them be. And let them be with, you got to let the dead, what was the word? How Jesus said that shit? I can't recall, man. Just let the dead be with the dead, man. There was a certain way he said it that I really liked, but I can't remember. But the bottom line is this, man. Let the dead be with the fucking deads. Because that's where they belong. This is for the living. You feel me? This is for the initiates. Because originally when I first came out too, man, like when I first started doing YouTube, you know what I'm saying, the whole idea was, and even my channel, I think at one point, I did call it This is for the Initiates. And it's funny how, the connection that I'm making now, the growth in myself, and that connection is just, the same, but it's not the same. You know what I'm saying? It's so much the same that it's not the same. Do you see what I'm saying? This shit is crazy, man. But anyway, yeah, it's very important because understanding your environment, help you to, to cope with your environment better. Because the whole purpose of you creating the boundaries, now don't get it fucked up. It's not to pretty much, yes, you're keeping them away, but that's your way of surviving with them. That's your way of making peace with them. Because because I remember, man, like when I didn't know, like my family was energy vampires. Every little bit of knowledge that I used to have. Poor me. Think about it, man. Having that thing, wanted to share even with my baby mother and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Niggas like, nigga, get the fuck out of here with your knowledge shit. I mean, of course, they didn't say it that way. But, like the back and forth, the the fucking resistance, the opposition. I always knew there was something wrong, but I couldn't fully grasp it. You know what I'm saying? Because my mind wasn't clear. I needed to grow out of it. I was looking at it from that perspective until I became on this perspective. I'm like, oh, okay, that's how y'all playing. That's how y'all giving it up. And that's part of the path, man. The spiritual path is not an easy path, guys. It's not. It's very painful. It's not all that zen, but it's worth it, though. It's worth it. Every penny, every second of it is worth it, man. Trust me. It's like, I don't know what else to say, man. You know what I'm saying? And even, shit. Nigga. Nigga. It's worth it, though. It's painful, it's beautiful, it's that harmony. Because that pain is also your growth, but you're learning how to transform the pain into something else, into love, and that's technically what you do. And that's why the cure of the pain is in the pain, because you got to go through it. And that's why too, like, as a spiritual healer, I had to heal myself, but most importantly, that's what I'm here to do. Help you going through that anxiety as you're going through the journey, learning how to cope with it, embrace it. Never pray God to take pain away from you. No. Ask him for a stronger shoulder. You feel me? Ask this nigga for a stronger shoulder so you could carry that motherfucker. You hear me? Because what you're going to get at the end of it, man, is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Think about your pain as a fucking dumbbell, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Putting on some muscle up in this bitch. You know what I'm saying? Gotta put on some muscle up in this bitch. That's what we're doing, man. Some muscle up. Muscle up, baby. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. We're soldiers out here, man. I be crying to God, nah, bitch. No, nigga. Embrace your pain, because the lesson, you know what I'm saying, that you're going to get out of it, there's no shortcut, man. And your pain is what makes you better. You know what I'm saying? I know for my ladies, you know what I'm saying, you got to do that squat, baby. You know what I'm saying? You know what you're going to look like. You know what I'm saying? But you got to put that pain in. You got to put the pain in, baby. You know what I'm saying? Then that's, those thighs. You know what I'm saying? Your glutes. You know what I'm saying? You don't look real nice. You got to put that work in, man. And we're not even talking about diet yet, because you know how important the diet is, too. And that's what I'm giving you right now. Eat your food, man. Eat your meal, baby. Eat your food, baby. That's your diet. You know what I'm saying? Get your fucking diet. Now you're going to get out there, you know what I'm saying? You got to go heavy, man. But you're going to have your light days, too, though. You know what I'm saying? It's good. It's fine. It's okay. You got to have your light days. But just know you can't just be taking it too light. You know what I'm saying? And anybody that works out, you know that. You got your light days, maybe on a Friday, you know what I'm saying? But you got your Mondays, your Tuesdays, you know what I'm saying? Your chest, your back, and all that shit. You feel me? But for now, just get your diet, man. I'm giving you your diet, man. Oh, listen, man. There's no way out of it, baby. But through it. And that's the beauty of not just creating your boundary, because the boundary is a reflection of your higher state of mind. It's also a reflection of you accepting the person that you are, but most importantly, embracing, your energy of vampires too, because you're not chasing them away, you're not running away from them, you're only protecting yourself and keeping yourself away from the bullshit. And you're doing it in a non-judgmental way, where you're not trying to put them down, but you acknowledge who they are. Okay, that's what I'm doing over here. And since now you grow, like you've become, you have so much, now you have your self-esteem, because now it's about the self. You're acknowledging your values, your gifts, the person that you are, your peace. And that's all that shit is. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, and that's where you have compassion for them too. You know what I'm saying? That's it, man. We can't do, come on, man. What are we doing? You gotta protect your peace, man. You know what I'm saying? What you doing, handsome? So, let me see if there's anything else that I didn't talk about regarding that, because that's a big piece. And I'm trying to give you guys a few tips on, how not just once you align yourself with yourself, but how to also, I mean, that's pretty much the bottom line too, because in so many ways, once you align yourself with yourself, everything else would be shown to you, as far as, as you're raising your consciousness, like we talked about, everything that's in the darkness now is going to start phasing out. And that's how you do your shadow work. And the more you get into the light, which is yourself, and that's how you fully change your outside. So it comes within. That's why true changes starts from in, and then it shows on the outside. As it is within, so it is without. But a lot of people, unfortunately, who doesn't understand that, they trying to go through change from the outside in, or they just using the outside. And that those are your fake people. Those are the people who are acting a certain way or behaving a certain way to show that they are either knowledgeable, or they truly have the knowledge, or they act. You do see what I'm saying? And all of that is part of the persona, which is not your true self, that was created, that society created, and that's what make all of them averages. And in that system, what do you have? You have competitions, you have envy, you have jealousy, because everybody's acting the same way. You don't see your gifts, you don't see your individuality. But when you start looking at yourself, okay, you see somebody else. I mean, if anything, you'll be inspired not to be a fucking hater. So that's why it's important for you to understand anybody who's not on this type of time is potentially that. And I'm only saying potentially that because you have not seen it yet. But if I was talking to myself, they fucking that. But potentially that, until, just like I was telling you, like I know niggas, you know what I'm saying, you may think they cool until you start making more money than them. And they're not cool anymore. So this nigga was always what he was. But knowing that, and that's what losers do too. That's why they don't hang out with people who's better than them. Because I've seen that example firsthand. Like a hater that, you know what I'm saying, that was, you know what I'm saying, that was trying to fake in front of me, trying to, you know what I'm saying, like, do you see what I'm saying? Judas, man. You can't fake the funk, baby. You can try all you want. Can't fake it. It's either you are or you're not. So they trying to get into the kingdom of God from the outside in. You hear what I'm saying? And that shit doesn't work. It will never work. It's got to come from the inside out. And it's going to take some time for it to start showing on the outside. Well, there's different layers. I mean, there's a certain behavior, you know what I'm saying? That's why the true spiritual person also has a great sense of ethics, but he doesn't identify himself with his fucking ethics. Do you see what I'm saying? But the fake motherfucker is the one that's trying to identify himself with this is the way I behave, this is how I act. Whereas for the true, the mature, the spiritually mature person, it becomes it's just a side effect because they have something greater in mind, which is the true self, the connection with the cosmic, with the cosmos. So therefore, their action. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't claim to be like a moralist or an ethical motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? But I have integrity. But the integrity that I have is because I'm fully grounded into, you know what I'm saying, like the divine. So I would never take pleasure in, let's just say, I don't steal, I don't. Okay, who the fuck cares? Do you see what I'm saying? So we could be acting the same way, but from different perspective. And that's how you would know who the copycats are. Always. And if you don't see it, that's just because you don't have the sight. That's okay. So I was saying all of that to say, you have to protect yourself because as you know what I'm saying, because but it's also gonna come naturally too. I mean, you're gonna be tired. Let's just say of what I'm saying, and that was another reason too. Like that's why I'm not doing this to please anybody. I'm doing this shit for myself. I mean, of course, I mean this is for the community. Don't get it fucked up, but it's like, yo, I'm full. It's like I'm not giving you food when I don't have food at my house, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I'm full, now I'm giving you food, motherfucker. Call it selfish all you want. You know what I'm saying? I'm full, bitch. You know what I mean? What the fuck? You know what I'm saying? You thought I was stupid? What would I give you and I have nothing for myself? Nah, man. This cup is overfilled, man. So much so now I'm projecting that out. Here's motherfucker. Here. Abundance, bitch. You know what I'm saying? And that's why and here you can't give what you don't have. So I'm letting you know we got a whole lot where that came from, baby. You know what I'm saying? We got a whole lot where that came from. You know what I'm saying? This is for the living, man. Now, with that being said, protect yourself. Understand someone who's not fully spiritually matured is a potential energy vampire. And why is that important? Because as you see in those movies, the energy vampire will suck your energy out. And it's like you don't want to do two step forward just to go 20 steps backward. If that makes any sense. That's like getting your hands washed and now you're gonna dry them on the fucking dirt. You see what you're doing? Don't do that. Hey! Don't do that. Don't do it. Don't you ever do that. Okay, you gotta get a piece of cloth, or, something clean. Then you wash. You know what I'm saying, then you dry your hands out. How else would you keep it clean? Why did you wash it in the first place? Stop playing. Play too much. Okay, put your ass in timeout, motherfucker. Face the wall. 20 minutes. You see what I'm saying? Come on, man. You gotta have fun with this shit, man. I love it, though. I fucking love it. If it doesn't show enough, figure it out. Just confirmation, motherfuckers. Yes, it's what you see, nigga. Yeah, that's right. That's right. But just to recap real quick, it's important for you to understand that. Because as I stated, you don't wanna. What are you doing? You see what I'm saying? So it's critical that you create those boundaries. But most importantly, understanding. I think the Matrix says it another way too. They said anybody, like, if you're not potentially, how the fuck did they say it? I think it's in the first one. While Neo while Morpheus was training, he said, if you're not unplugged, so that's how the agent could go through you, because those people are not conscious. That was their ways of saying it. Yeah, same shit, different ways of saying it. You know what I'm saying? Because their shadow work, it can always trigger at any given time, because they are enslaved by their shadow self. That's why people are triggered. You got to understand that. When you master your emotions, when your shadow now is, you dining with this motherfucker, we all come together, the wounded child, everybody's doing high five. You know what I'm saying? Like, you talking to that nigga, yo, this is okay, baby. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole different beat. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to trigger so much. Or if you do trigger, then you will know you're not fully healed. There's a little bit of work that needs to be done. But nevertheless, though, you are in control. And that's why you also need your haters, too. And that's why you got to look at life as the ultimate test for you to better yourself. That's why we don't bitch over here, man. This is for the strong. We ask for stronger shoulders, man. We take that pain in and we transform the pain into love, nigga. So we get muscle on this side. Muscle up, motherfuckers. Okay? Come on, man. Don't make me start, talking dirty over here. Come on, man. You don't want me to call on the old guru to come through. Because sometimes you just got to do that sometimes, too. You got to talk that shit. But, we're going to keep it cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm sipping on my wine, baby. We're going to keep it cool. You know what I'm saying? Oh, good. We good. Sit down, nigga. But just know that he's here, too, though. At any given time. You know what I'm saying? Depending on the nature of the work. Sometimes Ogu may have to come through and talk his shit. I'm saying, but he's okay now, though. You know what I'm saying? He just showed up, nigga. I'm here. If you need me, let me know. He got the sword. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, shut up. Yo, what's up, Let's be. You want me to come through? Nigga, all right, nigga. This nigga always ready to go. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? We gotta have everybody on deck, though. You gotta have everybody on deck. You know what I'm saying? At any given time, you know what I'm saying? We do what we do. Feel me? Now, with that being said, it's nothing but love. You already know. Protect yourself, love yourself, embrace yourself. And most importantly, nigga, become a tribe of the motherfucking Patreon. You know what I'm saying? So, let's build a community. Let's make it happen. You know what I'm saying? Aishen. Bra. Mali.